Good afternoon, everyone. I could not hear your voice. Good afternoon. Yeah. So now today my topic is user stories, building blocks of products. And my name is Wajih Aslam, and I'm an Agile coach at Integral. And this presentation is supposed to be given by me as well as Mirza Asfarbek, but he could not able to come because of some reasons. So today I'm with you. So this is an interactive workshop. So hopefully we'll all work together and we'll learn about the technique called spider. And we will see and we'll collaborate each another and we'll learn from each another. Okay? So first I will start with, I will explain what we'll do and why we are doing it and what is the purpose, and then we'll start the workshop. In between, if you have any question, you can come back to me anytime because it's an interactive session. And if you want to add something, you can add anytime, okay? So thanks to the sponsors. So why we have user stories? Can anyone have any answer?
User stories is the user perspective, how they need the software, what will be the, how we can use the software, this perspective.
Yes. Anyone else?
To understand what the user is going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So you are reading. Yeah. Yes.
And it reduces the noise, it reduces the documentation, which is very lengthy, 30, 40 pages to 1 or 2 pages.
Yes.
That's why it's more beneficial.
Yeah. So thank you. So the main problem was before, or some places right now, it's still like we have several lines of documents and we have a very long documentation, and the requirement comes like that way. And sometimes really very important things miss up because we could not get completely from them, and it is really very difficult to get the useful information from that. So the benefit of user stories is that it is user-centric in terms of business language, and user can understand it, and everybody can understand, and it's a story, so it's in a format of a story, so it's easier to remember. So, and it's right size for agile and iterative development because we can make it shorter, and that's how that's what we learned in this workshop, that how to make it with the right size according to the to your sprint and according to iterative development. Also, it encourages the communication. Like what happened that previously some business analysts will come and he goes to client and he get information and he share, and later he share a document and team develop the software. And when they go back to the client, sometimes it happens that it is completely different and it is just misunderstood. So that's why user stories encourages that everybody should sit together and have a shared understanding. And also it is really very easy to sequence and prioritization because it is a small size. So so that's why it is easier to select that, okay, which work, because if it is a lengthy documentation, so nobody can prioritize in between them what is really much useful and what is not. So and it's difficult to validate as well. So that's why we use this user story. And also user story provide reasoning. Some of the user stories we'll see today an example that, okay, this also describes the reasoning. So because when you are building something, so it is really very necessary why you are building it. So that's why the team can collaborate and come up with the new ideas, come up with a better solution because they understand the users. Okay. What are user stories? User stories are card, conversion, and confirmation. Like as Mike Cohn said that, okay, card is a kind of a reminder to do something. So once the requirement comes up, so product owner or analyst or anyone in the team, they just can add a card, like they can add a placeholder and they can write something that, okay, we need to work upon it, and that's it. They can defer details. There's no need to add details at that time until and unless it is really prioritized and we get more information about that. So card makes sure that we have a conversation. And then after conversation, we have a confirmation, which is acceptance criteria. And we need to make sure that we need to validate that this work is done, or how we call it done. Is it really means done by validating that acceptance criteria. So it is in the business.
This is a three-step process.
Yeah.
First we have a card, then we have a conversation, then we finalize the thing, and then we confirm, then
Yeah.
the story is done. So this is the
Yeah. So, and then it is in the business language form, and the best is to written by the customer. In some cases, customer is not available, then okay, someone can represent as a customer, but that he need to be empowered. But better is that, okay, customer should involve in all those user stories.
But usually the product owner used to write those stories,
Yeah.
not
Be-
the customer.
Yeah, because product owner is a customer representative, and most of the cases, product owner is a customer. In some of the cases, not most of the cases. If not, yeah, definitely product owner should be involved, and he need to write it, and whole team needs to be involved. And if there is any kind of it is required, so we need to consult a customer as well, and we need to involve wherever we can involve them. And it also shows the behavior of the product, and it's free of technical jargons. So yeah, so epics, what are epics? Epics are large user stories. So if user stories is large and we are not able to work in one sprint, and definitely it will take longer, so we need to break down. So that's what we learned. But epics are a collection of a user story, like a large user story, single user story which is large. So it means that team cannot work on it in a single sprint.
So epic can vary from one sprint to multiple sprint, like 6 sprint. If I have a large user story, it may
Yeah.
prolong.
Let's consider it in this way that, okay, let's suppose there is an epic, and you know that, okay, you will take 2 months to deliver. So the scope of the epic is fixed, and then you need to break down into stories, which will be fit inside the sprint, and you can start working on.
Sprint can contain user stories from different epics at the same time.
Yeah, a sprint can contain different users. Yeah, so personas are very important. So when we are talking about that, okay, user stories are user-centric, and it's in the format of user perspective. So personas are fictional characters that represent the target user or customers. Okay, so how we'll create a personas? We'll say that, okay, because if we create every story like in a generic user, so it is not that helpful. So what is helpful, that we need to know that how many types of users are there, and then we create a persona, and for each and every type of user. So we can handle different case, like maybe for administrative role, and for a viewer role, so there may be a difference. So if we write a story like that, okay, if I want to see Facebook profile of Basharat, let's suppose, so how it will happen, that, okay, if as an administrator, maybe Facebook administrator can view all the information, whether he keep it private or public. But maybe as a another user or his friend, I can see only public information. So that's why personas are really very important. Okay, we always say that, okay, invest for good user stories. It means that if we have a criteria to judge that, okay, user stories are good enough or not. So user stories should be independent, like that when we select them, teams need to do the work independently without any dependency. It's possible that there are dependencies between different stories that, okay, and that's need to be handled by prioritization. But a single story when we start, so there should, and when we complete, so it should not dependent on anything, okay? So most of the cases we want independent stories, but in some cases there are dependencies that needs to be resolved in by the practicing some of the agile principles. And stories should be negotiable. Like, okay, when product owner comes to the team, so what happens that, okay, it's not like that he just give information to the team and team starts working on and they cannot raise the questions. So that's why we have conversation. Conversation makes sure that, okay, we product owner and team negotiate at one level and what is the acceptance criteria. And after that, there is it should be valuable to the customer, valuable to the client. It should add value whenever we are working. Like maybe a handover task cannot be a story because it's not adding direct value to the customer. Okay? So, and it should be estimable. Like team should able to estimate it. If it is too large or too vague because team doesn't know about it much, so they cannot estimate it. So user story should estimable, and it should be small enough to cater within the sprint. And it's a good practice that we should not have larger stories than 1/3 of the sprint size. Let's suppose if we have 2-week sprint. Let's suppose if we have 2 weeks of sprint, so user story usually should take 2 to 3 days to finish. So we should able to break down into that level. But sometimes it happens that there are some bigger user stories. There are very complex stories we cannot break down. It's possible, but it should not be common practice. And user story, a good user story should be testable. And it's like if there are if non-functional requirements are there, they should also be. We should mention the criteria that what are the expectations from this story. And if expectations are there, so that's why we can test it, we can validate it that it is done or not. Okay, there are so many format of user stories. We can utilize anyone. Like in BDD, we use jargon formats. We are not talking about that one right now. So for our workshop, this is the format we will use. So it is like as a type of user. So type of user will be persona. And then I want some goal. So that's some reason. This some reason is optional for some of the stories. Some of the stories we have reasons. Some of the stories, if we cannot provide, it's fine. It's like it's not necessary. It's not mandatory part. But if we have it, it's good. I'll share some common mistakes while writing in this format, because I saw in my practical experience that some of the people write that as a developer I need to do this and as a product owner I need to do this. So that is really very wrong, because I was working for a product and that was not launched, and the user stories are like that. So when I see that, I said, okay, how we launch? Because we are making software for ourselves, like we are not making for a customer. So user stories are customer's perspective. If there is a task for developer, that's fine. We need to find how it will impact customer, and we need to change accordingly. Otherwise, don't use this format. We can write it in any format. Now today we will do a workshop on splitting user stories. So spikes. So spikes, in some cases, what happens that if there is a research work for the team and team cannot able to estimate because they need some learning or they need some third-party dependency and they want some kind of information. So they can, if they take that story and estimate that story on assumption, so it may not be, they may not be able to deliver, or they can deliver earlier or later. So that's why we use spikes. What we do with them, we break it into 2 stories, and we will see that, okay, I'll show example in the next slide about the spikes. And same way, we can break user stories. One thing I want to add that, okay, spikes should not be should be the last choice. But if we have other option to break stories, that's more preferable. So,
So
yeah.
my question is like we have to incorporate all these spider rules in our stories, or we can have any specific one like interface. I have the user story for interface only, or I have to cater all these points like spike, path, interface,
No,
method.
these points are just for guidance. You need to see whatever is required and you need to apply. Maybe none of them will apply. Maybe everyone in very big story, maybe you can split with every one of them, or more than one time for one case.
So how would you define the difference between the spike and a user story?
Spike and a user story. Yeah, Spike is a research work which make developers which make easier for developer to estimate the original story, original work which is required. So we break it into two. So first we do that research work, and that is estimable because we have target, and that should also provide a acceptance criteria that after doing the spike I should be able to estimate the original story, and I should be able to know what solution I am going to implement.
So the outcome of the spike is knowledge, and the outcome of a user story is a product increment.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
example,
Yeah,
we are
thank you.
doing some, we are making some software and we have payment integration. So we know how to do it, but we don't know which payment gateway shall we use. So we select to pay tab and another one. So there's a spike task for each. That how easy is to integrate this payment integration with our system. So the result of the spike combines with the story and it give us information.
So, so the spike actually helps us eliminate risks and enable us to estimate
Yeah,
the segment user story.
yeah. So, in,
Remember, from my perspective, is that Spike is an investigation task, the user story is a development task. The Spike, so you can use time blocks, say like,
yeah,
investigation.
2 days or 3 days.
exactly. So, and then we have path. So, in path, like, okay, if we have a multiple flow, like more than one flow, let's suppose if we have, there are multiple payment channel for a shopping cart. So, and it requires more time than a sprint or more time, and there is importance for one of them, like more importance. So we can break down into each payment channel, or we can say that, okay, for first one, anyone we can select and prioritize, and we can work on that, and we can we can break it into another for another story. We'll see examples as well. So interface is like, okay, if I'm doing let's suppose a mobile version, so maybe in tablet it's completely changed. So I can release for mobile, and I can wait for tablet, and I can do work for next sprint, and I can do it. So interface is actually a kind of a device or perspective, or like website, or mobile, or yeah. So for those kind of things, we just create separate stories. Or if we have one story, let's suppose product owner doesn't know about it, so we can split it later on once discussed with the team. So because of the data, so let's suppose if we have validation forms and we have big validations, and which is time consuming, and we want something to build up and go for positive scenarios, we can deliver it for the testing, and so tester can validate, and we can cover the data later on, maybe next sprint or in the next story. Okay. So for rules, yeah, if there are multiple business rules covering in one user story, definitely we need to break down them.
How do we break them down?
Yeah,
Like if we
yeah,
have 5 rules, then two rules, like how logically we have to distribute them.
yeah,
One way of doing it could be just forget about the rules. Just make it happen, make it work.
yeah,
And then, you might have an acceptance criteria that saying, okay, now I want it to be encrypted, or now I want it to be faster, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, one thing I will add like that. Okay, have you saw these rules since long time, or when you last saw these rules? Yeah, daily. You saw daily, and you do it, or usually
I think every single grooming session at least once a week.
you do, but you check with every story that okay, it is breaking according to the rule, or according to your senses.
I guess I have spider senses.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So once you this is just for learning and start and being in practice. But when you learn it, and you keep it away, still you are used to of it, and you will do it accordingly. You will not realize that okay, I am doing spider, and I am splitting it, but you will do once you do, the result will be according to the spider. Okay.
But there's one thing that I think that is important though, is when do I need to look into spider? When do I need to look into it?
When the team is new and they don't know how to,
But you don't need to apply for every user story.
yeah, there may be several techniques if it is available, yeah, but this is one of them. You can start with this.
One of my experiences is, and what I was trying to aim at, is when there are a few rules of thumbs when I realize that, oh, now this story is too big. So if I realize that the team are having a hard time estimating, then I know, oh, this might be a big. Or if they estimate it as a very high number, I don't know if you're using story points, and we always have, okay, if we feel that this is more than an 8 or a 9 or a 15 or however you are using the numbers, then we usually have a rule of thumb, okay, maybe we should look into how can we split it. Because otherwise it's easy to just move forward with the user stories, but we put in, as a team, some rules and saying, this one we need to look into it, does this need to be broken down, and how can we do it?
Okay, thank you. So now we'll see some examples that okay, spikes. So as a purchaser, I want to receive a notification 15 minutes earlier when my deliveries arrive, so that I can get ready to receive it. Okay. So let's suppose if there is a furniture delivery and you might need to vacate the space in your home. So definitely you need 15-minute earlier message. Okay. So usually what happens that the furniture delivery people, they usually send it once they start their journey, but not before 15 minutes. So let's suppose if we have that facility that just before 15 minutes estimated time to reach, I got notifications. What I'll do, I'll prepare my home accordingly. So that is what a story is doing. But what problem here is that my team doesn't know how to do push notification in mobile development, and they listen somewhere, but they need to see because there are multiple frameworks are there. They need to look that okay, which one is much better for us, or in terms of kind of cost as well, and in terms of application as well. Which one is easier, which one is more suitable to us. So how we'll do, we'll break it into two, and the first will be explore push notification third party option, so we can choose the implementation on the most suitable. So what happened in this case, we'll evaluate at least two with comparison, and this is acceptance criteria. So it's not like that okay, we do the research and there is no result, and it should not be like that. So we need to add acceptance criteria, because on this acceptance criteria we need to judge that okay, this story is complete or not. So evaluate at least two options with comparison, suggest on the basis of comparisons. After the evaluation, we should be able to provide estimates on notification engine. Yeah, estimation on the time. Yeah, time or story points, whatever we are doing, but we should be able to know what we are doing, what solution we need to implement. So, and then I write it original story. So in some case, original story become different. But in this case, original story is same because now I can do this and I can prioritize this story. Okay, path. As a purchaser, I should be able to pay my shopping cart bill. I should be able to pay via PayPal, credit card, as well as Nakudi wallet. So um, here I break down into three, like one with the PayPal, one with the credit card, and one with the Nakudi. So yeah, so it in some cases it's not like that. Okay, it's still we are not sure that which one is more important. So we can write it that okay. As a purchaser, I should be able to pay anyone from any one of them, and then we can decide and we can prioritize that one, and other two we can prioritize later.
With the path one,
Yeah.
what I do notice, is that when you break it down too granular,
Hmm.
developers or whoever's implementing or building this, that
Yeah.
part of their thinking process, they become very narrow because they think, oh, we only need to handle just one payment method.
Yeah.
But if they don't get visibility to the other stories,
Yeah.
they will build it in such a way where it's not modular.
Hmm.
So, which can cause issues. So that people have to have a bigger picture. So we need to give a background
Hmm.
to what this small story is. So do you do something like this? There's an epic to this. Then this is the granular story.
Yeah. That you can say that. Let's suppose if there are three payment channel is there and team is okay, team can do it, and team already did one payment channel already, or they are aware about it, they are used to of that kind of project, so they don't need to split, that's fine. But if in case they need to split, uh, if it is required, it is not necessary that okay do it like that way. Yeah, in that case that maybe you can call it epic, or if there is any epic, so we can break down into path as well. But it's not like mandatory like this example that okay always we need to do it. Okay, and every whole story and epics and all needs to be visible for whole team, developers as well and the product owner as well. It's not like that developers are not aware about it and product owner doing on their own, or developers will always come back and they will always split even if they can do it. So it's not like that. So visibility should be there. So interface, yeah. So as a viewer, I should be able to view all episodes of the selected season of the TV series. So I can play any one of them. Let's suppose in Netflix, what happens that, okay, if a TV series is there, so when I select the season, in mobile, one in a line comes and another one come in another line. Just there is one scroll. Because of one scroll and it's a it's a small screen, so that's why there is only space available for one. But when I open this, when I open this in tablet, so my design is changed. So, and for that developers might need to do work, because when I'm a customer, I can see that okay it's same, it's like because there is a hard work behind it. So I can we can break down stories into multiple, like one for tablet, one for mobile, and we can prioritize that okay this version we can release this for mobile. And because let's suppose research says that okay 99% or 90% people view it on mobile and 1% on tablet, so we can defer that story. Yeah. So and data. So as a merchant, I should be able to provide my full address so courier can come and pick the parcel for me, parcel from me. So acceptance criteria is field required: shop number, building, street, area, city, GPS coordinates. So this vendor want courier to pick someone purchase some item and he want to pick up. So what we can do? Okay, in this case, GPS coordinates are there, and let's suppose if the team has any difficulty on adding a map and those kind of things, so we can divide it. So we can say that okay, will complete, because providing an address is also a solution. So adding a GPS coordinates is adding a more value. But still, if I don't provide, still one can reach by address. So we can break down into two. And then we have a rule. So like as a sponsor, I should be able to apply for residence visa for my son having age smaller than 18 years. So here, like in UAE, if we apply for a visa for son, so residence visa especially, so I cannot apply for son who is older than 18 years. Okay, so if we need to create a service for that, so and let's suppose applying 18-year check is really very difficult, or it has some complication, or it has some kind of let's suppose we have some questions from the product owner that, okay, is it 18-year by 18-year or older, or 18-year or 18-year itself is inclusive or exclusive, maybe, or maybe not. So we can break it into two. Like as a sponsor, I should be able to apply residence visa for my son. So he can able to apply. That's fine. So, and it's not like that, okay, you may be thinking that, okay, if we release it, so release is still with product owner. We are just splitting the stories. So if product owner will say that, okay, and he can discuss with the client, okay, I can release it with this story, it's fine. If he is not, so definitely we need to work. And then in second story, we need to apply the rule, like as a sponsor, I should be restricted and notify. Because if I am applying, what happened that officer will reject, because above 18 years is not allowed. So in this case, what happened that if my son is older than 18 years, I try to apply, I get a message that I cannot apply, and that's how we will do with the rules. Okay. So now we'll start with the workshop. So, yeah.
There might be a typo, or maybe I misunderstood something.
Here?
So the rules there, they want smaller than 18, but when you split it into two stories,
Yeah.
the first one is just about residence, the other one is saying all about 18 or above. Is this on purpose, or did you want to say 18 or below?
Yes. No. Because 18 and below, I can apply.
Yeah, but
You got me?
the first one, so what is
Yeah, I'll tell you the rule, and then it will be easier. Yeah, the original story is that the rule is that, let's forget the story. The rule is that if I'm sponsoring my son, so his age should not be greater than 18. If it is greater than 18, I cannot apply for his residence visa. Okay, so in this case, what I will do when I want to create that service, I should be notified. I don't know. I just came in UAE and newly, and I don't know about it, or I'm applying for first time, and I'm applying for my son, and if he's, or last year I applied, he was 17 years old. It's fine, and I am applying right now, so I should be able to notify that, okay, his age is 18 years, and I should not. You should not. You cannot apply for a visa. So
This validation should be on form level, not user complete the application and pay. So you will prevent the user to pay for that application.
yeah, exactly.
Because the age is greater.
Yeah, that is the purpose. That is the purpose. So that's why I told you that it's upon product owner. Maybe he will say that, okay, no, it's a very big problem. We cannot release it. So still we can split. Because they can. We can able to test it, we can able to finish it, and we can able to defer it. Maybe team is confused about 18 years is inclusive or not. So they can implement the half, and they can wait for the next one. You got it, or still you are confused?
the original rule that came from the customer is the first one?
Yeah, is the first one.
Okay, so then I would perfectly understand if you tell me the rules, you're good.
Mhm.
Again, we are deriving user stories from other user stories, or splitting user stories.
Mhm.
So the original user story is saying 18 years.
Yeah.
Smaller than 18 years. Because let's look at this example and
Hmm.
go back to one example I think that he mentioned earlier about you need some application to expand within 2 seconds.
Mhm.
You implement it, and then
Hmm.
you implement the application that you do the user story without the 2 seconds
Hmm.
constraint, and then you implement
Yeah.
it with the 2 seconds constraint.
Yeah.
So if we apply exactly that on this case, you want an application that runs for less than 18. So you implement it, and then you implement it with less than 18.
Yeah.
Can I try? I
Yeah.
think it's because the second one is a restriction. So I want to be restricted and notified when I try to apply.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it?
Thank you. Thank you. So,
So just trying to make
Yeah.
it
yeah.
I get it. I understood right away.
Okay. So we can start the workshop. Like, okay, I have a problem statement, and we know the spikes. Yeah. The problem is that sometimes what happens that if our car break down on the middle of the road, so what happens that okay, we usually call recovery. So is anything happened with any one of you before you?
My car stuck at Kudra, they can recovery came after 2 hours.
Yeah, and what you did?
Just wait for the recovery guy
Yeah, wait for the recovery guy. And how you coordinate?
through call.
And how you get his number?
I called the helpline, they gave me his number, he was not picking, then I called them again, then he gave me another guy's number, and like it was so tiring, and like I was with my family,
Yeah.
and I have to spend.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just burning inside because I really just want to tell you, why didn't you use Courier?
No,
I was doing, I was
because
Courier has a new toll service.
yeah,
Something breaks with your car.
but
yeah,
it happened
but
like,
it's not
1 year or-
tall. It's 24 hour. They can provide you petrol. They can provide you, and they can fix tire. But
Pick up your car and drive it to the workshop.
yeah, because when I try to select that service, it's coming that okay, it's for petrol. I was not aware about it. Yeah,
Brand new service. I just
yeah, it's on.
I work with
Yeah, it's on on experiment basis. It's available for customers. Yeah, I can see it. Okay, so yeah, so what happened that okay, even let's suppose I call one guy, and let's suppose he accept the call, and I'm in the middle of Jabal Ali, and he is in Sharjah. So how long it will take? And I need to wait, and let's suppose another recovery is passing by, and I cannot wait because I already booked him. So I need to wait longer because I don't need that who is near to me. So the solution will be, which we will work on today. Like my vision is that we need to build a car recovery application. If a customer car gets breakdown somewhere in the road, then the customer must able to book a car recovery from the current location to any destination in the city. Or we can say Sharjah, Dubai, it's same. So customer can book via phone call, website or mobile application. We need to support at least 2 types of recovery support. This is important. That one, tow truck, number 2, forklift. In some cases, what happens that my car break down, let's suppose in the basement. So recovery truck cannot go inside. So for those cases, yeah, we need forklift. So if I call recovery driver, I have his number, but he doesn't have any forklift number, and I again got stuck. So in this service, we need both. So an application should support the prioritization of the booking with the nearest available recovery. You got it? So this slide is available, and you can read it. Okay, and what we will do in workshop, we will creating personas first, and then we will build epics, and then we'll split them into stories, okay, by spider, and then we'll see the results. So we can start. So you can.
Wajih, we can post these stories to the wall.
Yes.
They are sticky now, so we don't need
Yeah.
this. We
No.
can directly
It's better to keep it with this.
okay.
We could write, I think I could write 100.
We can limit that type.
That just means it's a great example. Have I shown?
build or get it from split, then
Some user
Just
story
now-
effects are like
it's
contrasting
better to
user story.
use those effects because that's why you created. Okay?
So we just split these.
Yeah, split. And do one thing. That okay, when you split by rule, so start that coding as well. Like for spikes, start orange. Pink for path. I'll paste it.
No, that's
Yeah.
split out.
Yeah, that's one. It's 11 minutes.
How long do we have left?
So actually we are running out of time and we had a time bound activity. So what we can do, we can practice this kind of activity later on because we have example built ready and we can do and try to break some more stories. To get the hands on this. And thank you very much. You are all awesome. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining the session. Is there any question left? So we have time.
If you have time for it, I have a quick comment. So when you split a user story, obviously it's because it becomes more tangible, it's easier for the team to estimate. When you have small user stories during your sprint, you can see progress. It's easy, it's a nice feeling when you move something from in progress to done, and that actually motivates the entire team. But there's another important part. If you're getting really, really good at breaking down your user stories, that also makes it easier for you to identify your MVP, your minimal viable product. So if you take this example, and let me start somewhere else. What is the purpose of the minimal viable product? What is the purpose?
Is the least feature software which user can use.
Yeah, but there's one more purpose of a minimal viable product.
Get the feedback.
Yeah.
Starting to get feedback. So if you put that in your mind and you look at this idea up here, what could be your minimal viable product?
MVP will be the least feature, but user can.
Give me an example. Give me a concrete example. What's your minimal viable product for this?
Phone and get a recovery service.
Yeah. So what does that boil down to? Your minimal viable product in this case is a business card. Forget about technology. I could hand you a business card and say, next time you have an issue, next time you need a tow truck, you call this number, you will call me, I will say, thank you very much, you will explain to me where you are, and I'm going to call another tow truck. I will call a tow truck company. That's the minimal viable product, but that will enable me to start getting an understanding of when my customer calls me, what do they need? And then you can start building upon that. So understanding these and breaking this down. So if you were starting this company, obviously you will start with the phone interface because that's where you quickest can get started. You can quick go to market and you can start getting feedback. And you will, when you then start building a little bit of automation, whether it's going to be on web or mobile, you'll basically just have an email service where they can have a blank field and they can input where are they and what do they need. And then you start building upon that and iterate and building more because you get feedback. Maybe you realize that, you know what, no one is going to use web. No one is going to use web. Everyone who drives around, they have their mobile phone with them. Do they bring their laptop? Do they open up the laptop? No. So why do you even going to build it? So that kind of feedback you will be able to get only if you release early, and you can only release early if you understand how to break it down. And I have not yet seen, I dare to challenge everyone, I have not yet seen a user story that cannot be broken into a minimum of 2 using the spider framework. Cool. That was just my 5 cents.
Okay. Is there any question left? I think that was good. Okay, so there is a retrospective session. There's a retrospective session, so this is the last session, so we need to join over there. Yeah, in Almas 1. Thank you very much.